Thank you for your patience. I actually do show that it is 9:31.
All right, then we will call the meeting to order of the Western Municipal Water District Board of Directors, October 15th at 9:31. May we have roll call, please?
Yes, thank you. Good morning. Director Gardner. Director Torres. Director Denstedt.
Present.
Director Rizvi.
Good morning, I'm here.
President Roten.
And I am here too.
Thank you. Good morning. President Roten, you do have a quorum today.
All right, thank you. I'd like to invite Daisy Farias, Accounting Technician 1 from the Finance Accounting Department, up to offer the Pledge of Allegiance and tell us just briefly about yourself.
Good morning. My name is Daisy Farias. I've been at Western now for 6 years. I started in customer service and I transitioned into finance earlier this year.
Nice. Okay.
All right, if you will please join me. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Daisy. Daisy's a good success story at Western. We tell people all the time that you can do anything you want at Western, and she's a great example of someone who had a great job and said, I would like to be in finance someday, and made the transition. There was an opportunity, and she was successful, so congratulations.
Very good. All right, thank you. Do we have any public comments today?
President Roten, we do not. I have no requests to speak in the audience, and I've received no written requests.
Okay, thank you. We will move to the consent calendar. Are there any questions or items to be pulled from consent? Otherwise, we'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Okay, I saw two, I heard two at the same time.
I'll be a second then.
Okay.
All right.
Director Rizvi and Director Gardner. Yes.
Director Gardner.
Aye.
Director Torres.
Yes.
Director Denstedt.
Aye.
Director Rizvi.
Aye.
President Roten.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion carries 5-0.
Okay, thank you. Item 6, Mr. Miller, do we have any items to add to the agenda?
There's nothing to add today.
Okay. And moving on to item 7, the action agenda. Approve amendment, item A, approve amendment number 1 to the 2017 intra-agency agreement with the City of Riverside for temporary sewer service along Van Buren Boulevard. And it looks like Derek, but I didn't know
think
if,
Derek looks like
Mr.
he's
Miller.
ready to
Okay.
tell us all about this one. It went through committee, and now it's before the board. So, Derek?
In 2017, Western and City of Riverside entered into an agreement to provide temporary sewer service along Van Buren Boulevard until the city's permanent sewer collection system. At that time,
I can't hear him.
Yeah.
of each parcel.
Is this my turn?
Good now?
Oh,
Wow, there we go.
Much better, thank you.
In 2017, Western and the City of Riverside entered into an agreement to provide temporary sewer service along Van Buren Boulevard. And that was to be in place until the city's permanent sewer collection system was built along Van Buren Boulevard to take it to their wastewater treatment plant. At that time, the type of development of each parcel was unknown. That was to be developed along that corridor. So the way that we calculated capacity fees was by zoning and acreage, and we used equivalent dwelling units per acre and a generation factor based on the zoning. This was appropriate at the time, but it resulted in charges, capacity fees, that did not align with the actual use once the parcels were developed. Amendment number 1 of the agreement in front of you updates the methodology now that the development has occurred. The capacity fees will be based on actual customer class at the time of connection rather than the EDUs based on land use and the acreage estimates. Monthly charges will move from an EDU-based estimates to a per gallon rate. That's the monthly bills that we send to actual metered flows. This ensures that charges accurately reflect the treatment impacts. The amendment also requires Western to refund any collections that we collected from the customers, because really the city is supposed to collect them. So we'll refund them to the customer, to the customers, which are typically the developers. And the city will reimburse Western. So the district essentially remains financially whole. It clarifies documentation responsibilities between the agencies and sets capacity limits at the Gamble Lift Station until the city completes their project. So the action that we're requesting is approve Amendment 1 to the 2017 interagency agreement with the City of Riverside. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Okay, do we have any questions from the board? No? Do we have any public comments on this item?
We do not.
Okay. I think we're good then. I'll ask for a motion.
I'll second.
Director Gardner, and then these two can fight over it.
Great, thank you, directors.
I heard Director Dinstead first.
All right, and we're ready for the vote whenever you're ready.
Director Gardner,
Aye.
Director Torres,
Yes.
Director Dinstead,
Aye.
Director Risby,
Aye.
President Roten.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion carries 5-0.
Okay.
I'd like to thank all the Riverside staff that are on, just in case there were any questions. So it's kind of a who's who of the Riverside staff on Zoom. So thank you all. Gil, thanks for being here.
Appreciate it. Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you, Mr. Miller. We'll move on to item 8A, General Counsel Report. Mr. Ballinger?
Good morning. I do not have anything to report this morning.
Can we
Okay.
ask you about, what was the email that you sent yesterday, Tammy? Are we able to do that?
Yeah, I can give a brief update on SB.
I did
Was
not
it?
That was not what the email was about.
Oh.
What was
That
that?
was about SB 852, relative to the need to file separately with the FPPC for investment.
Okay. I don't think that really impacts our board members.
It does.
I was
Are
like,
they-
I
are they
got a
going to?
whole email.
Okay, then SB 52 is something that was signed earlier this year, or this month, and it requires those who oversee or manage funds of the agency to file electronically with the state. And so I'm guessing staff will be helping the board members as well as Mr. Aragon do that.
Right. It is a new bill that passed recently. It was just enacted. It'll be effective in January. And just like the groundwater sustainability bill that passed last year that required you to file separately, this will also require you to file separately in addition to that one. So 2 separate filings with the FPPC on their site, in addition to your normal annual filing of your statement.
So it's 3 total.
Right now, you have 3 total.
Okay.
So 2 on the FPPC,
Wonderful.
FPPC site, you'll get a link from the FPPC, and then your normal annual filing that you'll do through Western.
Okay.
And if you have any questions, you can reach out to Jeff or myself.
Okay.
All right.
And then there was another one you were about to say?
The one I was thinking was SB 707, which is a comprehensive update to the Brown Act. And so we're going to be preparing a memo that provides an explanation of all the changes. In large part, the district already is complying with a lot of the provisions of this new law in terms of providing opportunities for the public to participate by teleconference. But there will be some other changes that you'll be seeing. And so we'll provide that memo to you here shortly.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No, thank you for the questions. That was great. Okay, Mr. General Manager, item B1. Do
All
you have
right.
a report?
Well, since our last board meeting, SB 72 passed and was signed. So that's all good. It was signed on October 1st, which was our last board meeting, right? Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if there was any forethought to that, but it's the start of the water year. So a water bill getting signed on the start of the water year was kind of
Nice.
cool, so we'll take that. Super, as you can imagine, super excited about that and getting a great response from all the water managers and the supporters of the bill. Now we start figuring out how to implement it, and where to go from here. So the work never stops.
Have they started doing anything on putting together the advisory committee issues?
So, not that I'm aware of, but we do have a plan for talking with DWR about that, because it's DWR that'll put together that advisory panel. In the bill, we did have some kind of obligations as to representation from certain
Right.
groups. But the representation that's gonna come from the water industry, I think we have some lobbying that we're gonna do to
Okay.
make sure that, we get good representation.
Obviously, that's important to how it all rolls out
Very,
and functions.
very important as to how they set that up. And we've been having great dialogue with Joel Metzger, who is now new to DWR, but was a supporter of SB 72 in his prior role as a general manager. And he's in charge of the water plan. And so, I think he's going to probably have a strong voice in setting up that advisory committee, I hope. And, Carla Namath also sent me a text afterwards talking about that a little bit too. So, looking forward to that. So and we would like to do that quickly before there's a change in administration
Right.
up there. We like the team that we have up there to work with.
Yeah.
We don't know what we're going to get in the next phase. We'll be pushing hard on that.
And Craig, if I could just add one item, the coalition will be holding a celebratory mixer to appreciate all of our supporters and coalition members during Aqua on the 6th. We've already partnered with Aqua for those plans, and Save the Dates will be coming out soon, so we hope to see you there, knowing our board was a major supporter and prioritize this policy for the state. So
Thank you.
What day?
It'll be
At the
the
conference.
Wednesday.
the
What?
3rd.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, don't go on the 6th.
We won't be there on the 6th. It'll be December 3rd.
The 3rd is it's the Wednesday, right, Michael, of Aqua?
It is. Okay.
Let's see, what else have I been up to? We had, hopefully you listened, but our team put together a great Riverside County Water Task Force with, kind of looking at what lies ahead in the upcoming year. So we had Charlie Wilson, JP Robinette, and Bill Hazenkamp and Jason Daticus. So it was really good. If you didn't get a chance to listen, get the link and listen, because they provided great insight on the biggest things happening in water. That was on Delta Conveyance, Sites Reservoir, Colorado River Settlement, and PFAS. So we could have done a show on each one of those, and we've done shows on each one of those. But this was just the experts and the leaders, some of the leaders in those issues, trying to forecast what we should expect over the next year. So it was really interesting. I joined the Monday morning group with Joe Mawad, talking about our state and federal priorities for the Monday morning group. They've done a great job of lobbying on our behalf in Sacramento and back in DC. And so every year, we kind of give them our layout of what our policy principles are going to be and things that they should hopefully lobby for and who they should meet with when they're back there. So we went through that again. And it's a little early in the season. We'll probably have a few modifications by the time they actually go back there, which is not until, February on the state side, and I think March on the federal side? April on the federal side. So we had a little bit of time. There's several meetings that are happening on Sites Reservoir participation. So we're on the waiting list to get capacity in there. But one thing that's starting to play out is some of the entities that are already on the list and have capacity are starting to reach out to see if there's any interest in partnering with them. So that's happening quite a bit. So our team this is coming, it's kind of coming fast. And if you listen to JP at the task force meeting, they're hoping to start construction next year.
Yeah.
So they're moving really fast, and one element that is gonna lead before construction is commitments from all the parties to fund it. And that's gonna be based on the capacity ownership. And so it doesn't surprise me that now all of a sudden people are starting to think, ooh, I have a little more capacity than I can afford, so I wanna look for partners to help me share the funding. So Rick and Ryan and our team we wanna be ready for that question of what are we willing to invest? What's the price of the water gonna be? And so we have a little bit more work to do. We wanted to just, get a placeholder on the list, which we've done. But now as people are actually looking to kind of sublet their capacity, we need to be really comfortable with what Western needs and what we're willing to spend for that insurance program of having storage. And very, very challenging kind of dynamic, because Metropolitan is the biggest capacity holder.
22%.
Yeah, 311,000 acre feet of capacity. And so, we're trying to figure out, well, as a Met member agency, we'll get a share of that. Does it make sense for us to be a shareholder also, in addition to what Met's gonna have? And we still don't know what Met's gonna ultimately have.
Right, so,
So there's a lot of decisions going, and who decides first, so it's a difficult dynamic.
so here's a question, just as a thought along those lines. One, is it gonna come up at a manager meeting with Met to have that discussion? And two, how many other member agencies, Met member agencies, are on the wait list? Do we know? I
Two.
mean, and I'm not expecting an answer now, but I'm
Well, I
just-
got it. It's two. It's Western and Eastern.
Eastern, okay, are the only two. Is there anybody else who's in the queue that already has, that's a Met member agency other than Met?
Well, yeah, Irvine Ranch is on there, but they're not a Met member agency.
They're not a Met
but
member
It would be under
agency.
MODOC.
And, okay,
And there's other state contractors that are on there. Valley is
Yeah.
on there.
yeah,
And Valley has spoken with us also. And Doug Hedrick originally, long ago and far away, said, I'm applying for enough water for the watershed. But there's no agreements or anything.
right.
That was just his theory when they put their name on the list. So, yeah, now people are gonna have to start signing agreements, so now things are gonna start changing and happening. So we just wanna make sure we're ready.
No, and certainly a topic of discussion for us to figure out positioning-wise, but the other question would be, the board authorized for you to buy a bunch of water, and you have money still sitting there that's not spent yet, so perhaps that's another discussion of how can we better use that money if we've not done something and we've still got funds sitting there, with our finance guy going, yes, yes, yes. To figure out how we can then utilize those funds, because it's kind of an interesting little earmark that we did.
Yep.
Mhm.
It is,
So.
it is definitely part of the decision process.
Craig, if it comes, I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead, no, go ahead, Mike.
If it comes to making a recommendation that the board sign an agreement to take a piece of this, there are those, mostly on the I don't like this project side, who are arguing that the water may or may not be deliverable when you need it. Important things for this board to understand are, what would it cost us? What are the alternatives? So where's it fit in the affordability ranking? And how sure are we that it could be delivered to us when we need it, if we buy it?
For sure.
So,
But that,
I'm not asking for answers now
no,
because we
no,
don't have
no,
them, but.
no. So we will definitely be bringing this back through the committee process for a serious discussion with the committee. And normally all
Yeah.
5 board members are there. So, this isn't something we'll just be springing on the board
Right.
as, hey, sign the agreement, because it is very complicated.
It is.
And, I've heard everything, and these are some very knowledgeable people who think they're knowledgeable about sites, that, oh, you'll never get your water out, to, I have a lot of conversations with Jerry Brown, who's in charge of this, and he says, absolutely, you'll get your water out. There is a formula, and you'll have to, the challenge that we'll have is it's north of the delta, so how do releases from sites work in conjunction with restrictions in the delta? And all of their modeling shows that for sure, every year, no matter what the conditions are, some water would get through the delta. And then in the vast majority of years, you could get your flows out of the delta and out of sites if you have water there. But remember, sites would have to fill up first, right?
Right.
You have to have water. So, yeah, there's a lot behind it, and there's a lot of modeling from different entities. And so we're looking at all that stuff.
Yeah, I just think we need to understand all of that better than I do before we vote.
Yeah, and what's gonna go into our thought process is, it's an insurance program.
Right.
And how much money do you want to spend on insurance? It's, that water's really expensive until you run out of all the other water, and then it was a great decision that
Yeah.
you made to park water there. So, yeah, a lot more to come on that.
Okay. I'm curious, okay, so I know we're on a waiting list and there's folks that are on the commitment list to be verified. So say if any of those decide they want to commit to less water, then will we be given the opportunity to come in as a direct shareholder, or are we going to always have to come in under somebody else that said, I want X amount?
No, I think the way that it's gonna work is here's my anticipation, and this is Craig's opinion. I think there's gonna be an opportunity for the existing capacity holders to go out and try and make a deal to use their full capacity. So if they want to allow an agency to come in and share their capacity, that would probably be a priority. If they can't find someone, I think they would turn it back to sites. And then the site's steering committee or the board would make a determination on what to do next. And then I think it'll go into kind of like a prioritization of the wait list. So there would probably be an offer that would come out of sites to say, hey, there's water available, here's where you are on the wait list. And so I think that's kind of how it'll happen.
Where are we on the wait list?
Oh, good question. We're pretty high, Ryan.
We are. There's a couple categories depending on when you signed up to be on the wait list. And we're like in the third tranche, if you will. And so there's about 24 people on the agencies on the wait list. So they're going to go first tranche, second tranche, and then it would be our turn. But to Craig's point, we're not quite sure how the process is going to work yet.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know, I'm just thinking it'd be perfect world to be able to.
Excuse me, I apologize for interrupting. We have moved into needing to agendize this item with all of the conversations, so I would encourage us to end.
Okay. No questions.
And if the board wants to agendize this at a committee meeting or a subsequent board meeting, you're certainly welcome to ask direct
Okay.
staff.
Okay. What else? I continue to be involved in Leadership Riverside, so I spoke to the Leadership Riverside class. I was in class of 2016, and we have a new Leadership Riverside class member now. So I was asked to come and talk about special districts and the value of special districts. So it was good.
It's interesting that there are 4 Leadership Riverside graduates or participants sitting next to each other up here.
And one on the far.
Yes. And there's some more who work for us.
There are some more, 2 more over there.
Yeah.
It's a really good program, and it's really nice that we've been able to find staff members. And remember, it's also a financial commitment, so I appreciate that the board has continued to allow us to participate, but it has definitely paid a lot of dividends in our relationships in Riverside. And so it's really nice that we still have a tie with the community and with the leadership classes. I've been busy reaching out to a lot of the GMs in the area. So Heather Dyer and I continue to have meetings about SBBA issues. I met with Chris Birch on Harupa issues and ended up talking about RCRA issues quite a bit. David Garcia with Riverside Public Utilities and Tim and I met last week to talk through a bunch of Riverside issues. I went to lunch yesterday with Tom Moody from the city of Corona to talk about RCRA issues and big picture water issues. He was all fired up about SB 72 passing and wants to make sure that we don't miss this opportunity to make change in water. So he's been a great supporter. And so that was really good. And also been spending quite a bit of time with Joe Mawad and Shivaji Deshmukh on numerous issues, both Met and watershed issues. Reminder, tomorrow morning, Eastern has their 75th anniversary. We'll just remind them they're a little older than us, our older sibling. I'm going to skip that one. Last one. Just a reminder, open enrollment for benefits closes this week. So if you have work to do, reach out to Chelsea or Candy or myself or Tammy if you have questions, but don't forget, get everything done this week. And that concludes my report.
Okay.
Let me invite Mallory up, because the rest of my report is Mallory's report.
All right. Good morning, President Roten, directors and staff. Mallory O'Connor, Water Resources Manager, and I'll be presenting you with our Q3 Grants Program update. And so to start out with some good news, since our last update in June, 3 of our grants have successfully closed out. And these 3 grants were implemented over the last 4 years, and we received over $1.7 million in grant funds for these awards. And so the first of the 3 is the Metropolitan Water District Stormwater for Recharge program for the Victoria Recharge Basin. Western partnered with Metropolitan as part of Metropolitan's Future Supply Augmentation Program. The program provides funds to actively monitor and report on recharge activities at Victoria Basin over 3 years. So we submitted our 3rd and final annual report last month, and we received $500,000 in grant funds over those 3 years. And the funding was provided for installing monitoring equipment and reporting to document the results, which will ultimately aid in optimizing recharge basin operations. Our next closeout is the AMI meter replacement and district metered areas implementation project. This project purchased and installed 1,700 AMI meters and 2 distribution meters. The 2 distribution meters enabled operators to install 2 DMAs, which are district metered areas, that help us determine and isolate areas of leaks. So 50% of the project costs, or just over $650,000, were covered through this program through Reclamation's Water Smart Water and Energy Efficiency Program. And so the final closeout documentation was submitted last month ahead of the required deadline. And so really big thanks to the project managers, Darian Cotton in customer service and Larry Chanez in operations for heading up these projects. And our final closeout is the PFAS treatment pilot study and filling station project. The PFAS treatment pilot study is actually composed of 2 projects. This whole project is composed of 2 components. So the PFAS treatment at Wharf and water quality going into the Arlington Basin was one component. The second component was this filling station that you see here on the screen, installing a water filling station so residents can purchase safe drinking water from Western regardless of whether they're a direct customer of ours. And so the filling station is located at the intersection of Hidden Valley Road and Rolling Meadows Drive in Gavilan Hills. The total project received funding for 50% of the project costs, or just over $600,000, which was funded by Department of Water Resources. The grant agreement formally closed in August 2025, and big thanks again to engineering and operations for making both these projects happen. Oops, I skipped one. And then we'll move on to our submitted applications. Some of these are more recent, so you may remember them. But over the last, since November through May of this year, 4 applications were submitted, and which equates to over $4 million in grant funding requested. 2 of them are ones you may remember because they just came, I believe it was last month, August and September, the turf replacement projects in Riverside Service Area, which you supported and adopted the resolutions for those projects. The RCRA Backup Generator Project supports reliable water service and prevents the loss of water service resulting from hazards like public safety power shutoffs. And we anticipate hearing word possibly next month or by the end of the year, but really with everything going on at the federal government, it could be delayed. So. And the final one is the Reservoir Management System Project, which will install a system used on tanks to decrease the amount of flushing that's necessary to maintain water quality. So we're really hoping to get word on those soon. Again, things happening at the federal level may delay some of those notifications, but we'll be sure to let you know when we do receive notification. And then the next one too, we really want to highlight the SARCUP program. I think it's been a few months since we've brought this to you, but you may recall that this project has been in implementation for close to 10 years, and it's Western secured $26 million of the $55 million in grant funding that was available from the Department of Water Resources. All of the projects have made great progress, and construction on all of the Western projects are now complete. In August, Western hosted a site tour with the Department of Water Resources Southern California representative Paquiza Chatha, and she came out to us and toured the Sterling Pump Station site, Magnolia Interconnection, and the Well 7 Pump House. We do have other projects too, but just proximity-wise, those are the ones to easily tour at the time with the amount of time we had. And the tour went really well. Paquiza highlighted that the completion of these projects really needed to be celebrated, so more to come on that. And the other project that we have under Western Projects, but it's with Elsinore Valley, is on a separate tour. Elsinore staff had visits with Paquiza from DWR to their Lee Lake Wells 1 and 2, which are also receiving funding for SARCUP. And so I wanted to show you a slide that we've shown you in the past. So this is similar to what was presented earlier this year, the grant funding allocation among the projects for the $26 million. It's similar to what you've seen in the past, but I just wanted to note that engineering, finance, and water resources have worked really closely over the last few months to document all the final costs and all eligible costs that are available for reimbursement and finalize those grant allocations per the project. So final invoicing on these Magnolia and Well 7 are underway. We're really close, and we're gonna have a final grant allocation likely in the next couple of weeks. So next time we come to you, we'll have what all of the projects received in their final allocations. And since we're going to be talking about, the federal government shutdown, we wanted to highlight some of our federal grants we have and potentially what could be affected. Here are our active federal grants. We have 8 Bureau of Reclamation grants totaling $6.2 million. We have 4 congressionally directed spending awards, which total just over $11.3 million. And those consist of a few different projects that you may recall. It's the PFAS Phase 1 and 2. It's the MARB sewer lining to prevent PFAS infiltration. Backflow, installation of backflows in our service area. And the chlorine contact basin cover and the wharf automation upgrades, which is part of one project. And then our other federal agreement that we have is through OLDCC for the sewer force main at MARB. That's the $13.1 million grant that you may recall.
Can you remind me what OLDCC is?
Oh gosh, now I'm
Oh,
gonna
sorry.
blank.
I didn't mean to put you on the
Is it
spot.
the office of anybody remember? Office of Local Defense and Community Cooperation.
Wow.
Thank you, Carly.
Okay. No, I did not, or I didn't remember it, I guess.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, so on to the government shutdown and potential impacts to our grants. We wanted to keep you in the loop because we know, on what we know so far regarding potential impacts on the shutdown. Short term, we anticipate that some impacts may be more in delays for grant approvals. So, those ones we're waiting on, the 4 grant awards, we may not hear when we thought we were gonna hear. So we think there probably are gonna be some delays on there. Also on some of the grant amendments that we're waiting for. There's already a few grant amendments we've been waiting on. And because of the shutdown, we'll likely just have to keep waiting. So we're on top of that and keeping our ears and eyes open for when there might be some changes. We did receive, when the shutdown occurred, we did receive letters from the Bureau of Reclamation saying, we understand that there's gonna be some delays. Don't call us, we'll call you, but that kind of thing. But hang tight, please continue working on your projects, please continue reporting, and we will get back to you as soon as we can, is what those letters said. We were actually surprised that for our congressionally directed spending awards, EPA staff is still working, at least the ones that are working on our awards. We've continued to meet with them, ask them any updates, working through our projects with them. So they said they are gonna keep working until they can't anymore. And hopefully that's not the case, but we continue to meet with them as much as we can. And then for the long term, we don't know for certain yet, but if this continues into the next month, it may delay some of our reimbursements. We don't know that for sure, but we are gonna submit for reimbursement at the end of this month. It's our normal progress reporting period and reimbursement period at the end of this month. So there could be some delays there, but we know that as soon as the shutdown ends, they will reinstate all of the reimbursements. But again, we may experience some delays on reimbursements. The final thing for long-term is the sewer force main, the OLDCC project. Because they are not working, we have not yet received a notice to proceed on that project, so it is delaying the start date. It's nothing on our end. We are ready to go, the contractor is ready to go, but until we get that notification from OLDCC to proceed, we cannot start, and we don't want to put the money at risk. So we are waiting and hoping to hear more very soon. So with that, I can take any questions.
Okay. Any questions?
I had a couple of questions.
Sure.
If you go back to the Victoria Recharge, that monitoring program was a 3-year program, right? Does that mean monitoring ends or reports end?
Reports end. We still have all the infrastructure and everything in the so we'll continue to report monitor that and keep that for our files, but we don't have to report.
That's cool. Yeah. Okay, and then for SARCOP, I just wanted to know, I think that's huge, and my math could be wrong, but like almost a third of the funding is covered by SARCOP. That's significant. And then our federal grants,
where would it go?
again, my math may be wrong, but on average, over half of the project costs are covered with grants, and that's important. And then my last question was going to be that I think you answered it. The long-term shutdown impact would be project schedules. It's just that one project that would be, we can't move.
Start, you mean?
Yeah, or like delays in project schedules, like we don't have the funds to cover it cover these projects in the meantime? Or is it just the one project that we can't start?
We have the funds to cover it because the board adopts a full budget package when we seek reimbursement with grant proceeds.
Okay.
The one project that we cannot start is the OLDCC force main. It's not about the dollars, it's we haven't received a notice to proceed from the federal government.
So that's really the only project impacted, so we're not stopping any projects because of anything else, okay.
Just that one, and like Mallory said, is not, we could theoretically fund it, but we don't want to violate the terms of the
Right.
grant and lose the money.
Sure,
So-
sure, that makes sense.
And, we've been planning kind of a kickoff for that project, and so you've seen a couple of change the dates, so I don't know, we're not gonna send out any more until we figure out when we can proceed. But, yeah, unfortunately, that one is getting impacted. And we'll just do the best we can. Hopefully, the shutdown's short, and we'll get back to business.
Hopefully.
Exactly.
Well, very, very great, like phenomenal job. This is
Thank
huge.
you.
It's huge.
Yeah, it's a lot of teamwork. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mallory.
Yeah, thank you.
That concludes my reports. Thank you, Mallory.
All right. We will move into item C, director's comments and requests. Do we have a SAPA report?
We do. SAPA met on the 7th of October. They authorized the commission staff to issue a request for proposals for a development of a strategic plan, and authorized staff to move forward with planning and implementation of commemorative activities for SAPA's 50th birthday. The PA 24 committee, which is the Brine Line, also met, and they approved actions on some routine maintenance kinds of things. That was it.
Okay, thank you, Director Gardner. The Metropolitan Water District.
There's
Oh,
no way
where
there's
to
news coming out of there.
Yeah, I'm sure nothing's happened recently.
Oh, where to begin? Well, we'll talk about the worst kept secret ever first. Yesterday, the announcement was made, the offer was done, and the contract was executed and signed, and Savaji is now the new general manager who will be starting and taking in place officially on January 1st after Devin's retirement. So he'll be shadowing Devin for the next couple of months. He doesn't officially start until November 3rd. And there was a big production yesterday. All of our GMs were there. Craig was in play there, and everybody got to celebrate that announcement together. So it was a nice turnout, and I think people are very pleased with the decision. So,
It's a huge loss for IUA.
so, well, again, that's their problem,
for
not
the-
ours.
They're our Inland Empire buddies.
That's a them problem, okay?
What was the vote?
The vote yesterday for
Yes.
ratifying the contract and doing everything was unanimous.
Excellent.
It was unanimous. So,
A
we
little better
only.
than the last time.
Yes, we had, I think there were only 4 absent members on the board. So almost every agency was represented. And so that was a good thing. The other couple of changes that we have is Dan Denham was officially sworn into oath, took his oath of office, and was officially placed on the board for the general manager for San Diego County Water Authority. He'll be taking over for Gail Goldberg, who is now retired from that position. And then the other announcement that took everybody kind of by surprise at committee yesterday at Legal and Claims was Miguel Luna from Los Angeles is leaving the board and is announced officially. Yesterday was his last meeting, and in his honor and for Hispanic, his Heritage Month and everything, they had mariachi band come in and play for him because he said he wasn't going to come back and receive any recognition or do anything. That was it. So he said he's officially done. He wanted to do 5 years. He did his 5 years, and he's out. So we'll be waiting to see what Los Angeles is going to do for an appointment from Karen Bass, the mayor. In other news going on, so I have asked staff to put out and put together, and this will be of great interest to us coming over the next several months. It'll be big discussions, but we started the kickoff, I would say the soft kickoff of the budget for the biennium. And the big discussion that happened at committee for the Finance, Affordability, Asset Management, and Efficiency Committee was talking about near-term budget drivers and long-term resource planning and some assumptions and predictors and those types of things. I think the big elephant in the room is the fact that Metropolitan has identified that for the next biennium, there is a need for CIP in the tune of $950 million. And that is a huge driver on what the budget is. And project descriptions and assumptions, you know, they were talking about a lot of the big drivers on what this is. Pure Water is obviously one of them. AVEC, which is the High Desert Water Bank Phase 2. We've already got some water stored up there right now, but they're looking at that. Sites, State Water Project for surface storage, Delta Conveyance, and the East-West Conveyance were all drivers in this on looking at resource planning, looking at costs, looking at what's going on. And I think ultimately, one of the comments that really, well, there were two really interesting comments, is some of the assumptions and some of the predictors on the drivers to show examples in here was Pure Water comes in again as a play on what it looks like financially. And so one of the comments that was made, and I believe it was by Director Armstrong, which everybody agreed with, was the fact that you keep putting Pure Water as the only project that you look at the numbers and not any other projects. So you make it assume that the board has already adopted and approved this project, which it is not. It has not been approved. And so that was one of the interesting comments. The other interesting comment in here was that we don't want to look forward to a future of a 10-year forecast where we're paying $5,000 an acre foot for water. And that was a significant thing. So I've asked staff, there was a 25-page, high-detailed report in here to peel apart, along with a slide deck that was, I don't know, 40-something slides, to talk about this. And this was just kind of to give us a precursor of what staff is looking at Metropolitan, and how these factors are all playing out, and what type of conversations we'll be having over the next several months as we look forward to approving the next biennium budget. An offer that was made, and I will have a conversation with our general manager as well as including our CFO. Staff at Met said that they would be more than happy to sit down and have conversations in depth over this report and outlook and take any questions. I think we take them up on that. I think we sit at a table and have a conversation, and we look at this in depth and bring forward what our questions are and concerns, so that we're on the front side and not the back side. And I'm happy to attend whatever meeting we can sit down and have those conversations, because there's going to be some significant stuff to come out of this, and how we're planning for it, how we're paying for it, what it means to rates, what the projections are. I want to have a detailed conversation with our perspective and what we're looking at with rates, you know, because I don't think any of us want to do and see double-digit increases. That's all bad for us. It's not great for our customers. But the bottom line is there's some significant projects that need to come out. And so how much do we want to pay for reliability? How much do we want to pay for and keep things affordable? I mean, these are all factors that are going to come into ultimately how we're going to move through this, and what I need to support on behalf of our agency. So more to come on that. It's going to be a lot of work and a lot of discussion moving forward to see how we're going to navigate through this. So lots of interesting stuff. So I've asked for them to keep a binder so that I can keep all the materials together in one spot over what we're looking at for the budget, and hopefully be able to keep track of it all as it moves forward. The other thing that was of significance that I'm sure our folks are well aware of, but we increased the budget here by another $500,000 for golden mussels. There's been traces of golden mussels that have been found at the Mills plant, so I guess the larvae has been found, so now we're gonna have to do some mitigation, and that budget was upped for that. So they were found at Mills. So, yeah, so at least the beginnings larvae were found as testing. So we, obviously, this is something that's going to have to be monitored and kept up with, because they're invasive, they cause a lot of damage, they cause a lot of problems, and so obviously this was kind of a a no-brainer to have to support the budget, but kind of a bummer that that's what we're having to spend our money in. So, you know,
Are they edible? Can we make them
yeah,
be?
that's what
can
I
we make
asked
them be a
too.
delicacy?
That's what I asked too. Can we go into a different market of like doing some type of a, you know, appetizer or something? Maybe we serve it at Aqua.
Some mussels are edible.
I don't know.
So serve it next to the filling station.
Right?
Just
Seriously.
test there.
Like, buy your golden mussels here. I know, right? No, there's got to be a market for these things. And then the other thing that was a topic of discussion and got a lot of support for is our understanding of, you know, staff are trying to look at some CIP and some capital improvement stuff. And so they asked for an additional $30 million for projects that were identified that are of importance. And while we still have to approve the contracts, the money at least is being looked at, allocated, and set aside to see what those are, that were not initially in the budget, and we're trying to get ahead of some stuff that could be very costly down the road with some things. And it was kind of interesting on one of my questions. I was it's interesting when I try to ask a question, trying to get staff to reveal a good answer, and I had to really prod them to do that. So on the Sepulveda feeder and doing some repairs on that, you know, while people were talking about, gee, this is a lot of money and everything else, well, please tell me what it means if the Sepulveda feeder blows and we have a failure. What does that look like, you know? And I got gasps all the way through the room, because it's not just about a leak that comes up from the ground. This is about explosions, and they were telling me how concrete was found, you know, on another one of these episodes at some other time down in the past, half a mile away. I mean, it could be a significant thing. And so I was trying to really drive, hey, please paint an accurate picture of what it means if we don't take action. And now we have to be responsive to an emergency that sets forward. So I think a number of staff came up and thanked me for my question and making them do that, because we need to understand. We need to understand the risks. If you don't do some things and you keep deferring maintenance and deferring maintenance and deferring maintenance, there are consequences to that, and some much greater than others. And I'd rather be having to deal with it on our time and our call than having to respond to some big, huge catastrophic emergency that floods neighborhoods and causes lots of damage and does all kinds of things. So
Any of that allocated for us, or Inland Empire?
No, I don't think so. No, because a lot of stuff had to do with the desert, a lot of stuff to do with transmissions, a lot of stuff had to do with, and these are projects that still need to come forward and approve. What they are trying to do is get the money allocated so it's there so that they could let the projects out. So as those projects get added into us and they put out the RFP for those, then they'll come back to the board for approval, and then I'll tell you what has been approved by the board that they're trying to float. But what they were trying to do is, instead of waiting until the next biennium and deferring this for another year, they're trying to get ahead of that so that they could start putting them out on the street now. So more to come on how this all allocates down. And I think that was the highlights of the board meeting. So, you know, just a little couple days. That's all. It's all good.
Right.
And it poured rain yesterday, all day, up in
At
LA.
least you were already there, right?
Yes, I was already there,
Yeah,
yes.
good. Well, thank you for that report. And Chino Basin Water Master, I think next week.
Next week.
And CDA, there was a meeting, and I know staff went to that, but neither Mike nor I were available to attend it. So I don't have a report on CDA. And I just got a notice yesterday that they're going dark for the November meeting. I think it was November 6th, I want to say. They're going dark. RCRA, I think you already...
November 20th.
Okay, November 20. And how about WRCOG?
Yes, WRCOG, yes. So just a couple of things at WRCOG. So there were some special presentations. A presentation was made for the California Stormwater Quality Association Award for Outstanding Leadership Projects and Programs that went to flood control. So that was nice that they were able to come in and get that award. And then we did a presentation and a proclamation in honor of Princess Hester, who is retiring after 20-something years with serving in WRCOG, the county, and her role. So we wanted to offer our congratulations to her on her retirement and moving to her next chapter. There was a lot of activity for TUMF. We are not a part of the TUMF program, which is the Traffic Uniform Mitigation Fee Program that takes care of all of our roadways and does that. But one of the highlights of our meeting was Craig Miller got to sit for his very first meeting at WRCOG and give the TAC chair report. So everybody was super excited to see you there. And we got a big, huge round of applause for our passage of SB 72. So, so that was great. And other than that, that's all I have for WRCOG.
Okay. How about Sarah?
Was canceled this.
Okay. Surprise. All right, and Aqua.
And Aqua, okay, so our meeting for Friday has been canceled, so we have moved that meeting. We are still working on the program, and you should have gotten your invitations if you've not, for the Region 8, 9, and 10 program down in Irvine. That will be for the reception on the 13th, the night before, and then the program for the full day on the 14th. So we're really excited about that program and expect a very large turnout for that. So looking forward to that.
Yes.
Yeah, November. And then obviously we've got a conference coming in December down in San Diego. So look forward to seeing everybody down there for conference for Aqua. And that's all I have.
Okay. We'll move into director comments. Director Torres, do you want to go
Yes.
first?
Sorry, yes. I just wanted to start off real quickly. I hope everyone had a wonderful Indigenous Peoples Day on. We don't have that off. Western doesn't have that off. Right? The county still does, but like my kids don't. So it is a very nice day. So I appreciate that. But and then today is the last day for Latino Heritage Month, and so I hope you've taken some time to honor and reflect on the contributions Latinos and Indigenous people have made to our country and our region. I had the honor of going to StepCon. I felt like I don't know, 16-year-old kid. I had so much fun. They had Robot Wars. I could have watched that for hours. They had Robot Wars, but we because we're sponsors, we received a VIP tour during StepCon by Gordon Bournes, and so we had a chance to kind of go in the background. I compared it, I told my kids, it's like when you go to the aquarium and you pay for like the VIP tour and you go behind the tanks. So it was like that. I mean, it was just a lot of fun, and so we're really proud that we sponsor something like that. It's a huge deal here in the region to have that facility in Riverside specifically. I had the honor I was able to go to the PIC Awards. They were presenting it to Councilmember Falcone, Justin Party, and I don't remember the third gentleman, but as you all know, I was a recipient of that award, and it was Bob Stockton that presented it to me. So it was very special to be there, especially those that remembered that. Just a cool organization. Wanted to say congratulations on SB 72. It's a huge deal. It's a huge deal, and I expect that Western and our leadership is going to take the forefront in actual implementation, and I think we're ready for it. And then just lastly, I know Savaji watches these religiously, so congratulations to Savaji. I think it's a huge loss to IUA and the Inland Empire, but also a huge gain to the Inland Empire. It's very rare that we get this type of representation, someone that understands what we go through, then the lack of resources that come our way. And so that's a big deal. And I know, Craig, you have a great relationship with him. So that again, that's a really good thing. So again, congratulations if you're watching. So those are my comments, and hope everyone has a great rest of their week.
Okay, thank you, Director Torres. No, okay. Director Gardner?
Just one thing. Last week, I attended the Rivers and Lands Conservancy Gala. We were a table sponsor. You were there as well, I think, Gracie.
No, oh,
I was supposed to be, but RUSD had, it was a busy night.
I thought I saw you across the room, but
Yeah, I should have said I was there.
anyway, it was a good event. And I'm glad to see us sponsor it, Eastern sponsors also. And that's it.
go ahead, Director.
Thank you. I did forget to mention two things actually with Met. I did attend the naming event for the tower out at DVL for Greg Taylor, the former general counsel that was part of that big program. His family was in attendance, so that was a really nice event. And I got to go into the tower and go down to the bottom and get in the little clunky elevator, and that thing was like a Disneyland ride, let me tell you, with the chung chung chung, and it was very entertaining. So it was a nice turnout for that event, and really to just hear some of the history and some of the pieces and what DVL means to us, you know, as a resource. So happy to attend that. And then on Friday, coming up, 2 days from now, I'm going to be doing a tour up at the Mills plant with Kelly Ciarto, Senator Kelly Ciarto. We'll be touring that facility with his staff, and Met is going to take him through and answer a bunch of questions, so I will be in attendance at that as well. And for tonight, I will also be in attendance at the State of the City for Marietta. So look forward to hearing those updates and everything that Marietta's got going on. And hopefully they will be giving some additional information on the kickoff and dirt turn for Golden Triangle. So that should be that should be an interesting announcement tonight. So it's been years and years and years in the making with the Dominigoni family and what they're doing with that piece of property. So I will have hopefully good news to report at next meeting.
All right. We always like good news. I just have a couple things. You have a little brochure. This is yours. That looks like this. This is from the Rubidoux Community Services District Turf Transformation Project. It had a couple of little different names, but I landed on that one because it really says what it was. And I kidded them and I say, I love your front yard because it is the front of their offices and it looks so wonderful. And so that was on the second. I got to attend that, and Ken and Michelle were both there, which I appreciated, and they appreciated us being there and the partnership to get that finished and designed and finished. And it was just a really feel-good thing. So very exciting. I actually went back, I don't know, one day last week and asked if I could pick up some more of those brochures so that I can, if I'm out in the community and the conversation comes up, I'm able to give them one. It's sort of a miniature of our landscape style guide.
Give those out to the community.
Yeah. And then the following day was the Leadership Riverside class of 24, right, Sarah? Yeah. Had the ribbon cutting, well, it wasn't really a ribbon, okay, it was a piece of wood that they hammered into, but their toolkit lending library. I love that concept. I thought it was great. Sarah was there, Michelle was there, and I think I saw Michael briefly there. And a lot of community came out for that. And it sounds like there were a lot of sponsorships from the community residents and stuff. So this is it 3 libraries right now? And if you have a library card for City of Riverside, you can go and check out up to 2 tools at a time, which is great when you think about sometimes you're doing a project and you only need this tool. You need the tool, but you only need it for like one thing. And this way you can go and hopefully they have it available. You can check it out, return it, get out what else you need. So,
So cool.
yeah. Yeah, it was their project for Leadership Riverside 2024.
Like, did someone donate them? So, I'm so sorry.
Yes, no, that's fine.
Yeah, so for the class project, this was community supported and sponsored, and so we, as a class, were able to raise funds to establish the program in partnership with the city library, and all of the funds that were raised went into the direct procurement of tools and any program administration costs to start it up.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I just thought, wow, what a creative project to do for a class like that. So with that, do we have any requests for future agenda items? Other than possibly Sites Reservoir?
I have just a suggestion to offer, and it's not really for our agenda, but agenda driven by us is for Water Task Force, that perhaps Water Task Force do a session on all of the new legislation that was passed that will be coming in that affects all of the water agencies. There are some agencies that are smaller that attend those that do not have the support staff to get the skinny on some of that stuff. So maybe that would be a nice little topic to throw in there just to give a little bit of info to folks. So just a suggestion.
Nice. Okay. Anybody else? No? Okay. With that, Mr. Ballinger, would you like to move us into closed session?
Yes, the board will be going into closed session to consider the one item that is listed on the agenda. We will be reporting afterwards, but I don't anticipate a reportable action.
Okay.
60 Minutes had a big story on Sunday.
Really?
Just what you heard.
We are ready whenever you are, President Rowland.
Okay, we're coming back from closed session, and Mr. Ballinger, do you have anything to report?
Madam President, members of the board, members of the public, the board met in closed session to discuss the one item that's listed on the agenda, and there was no reportable action.
Okay, thank you. And we have one information item, 10A, investment report. And I think next meeting is Wednesday, November 5 at 9:30, and with that, we are adjourned.